Boobies! Boobies!
Okay, well, hello and hey, howdy.
Hello. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's
Aw.
nice to be back in the studio.
Back in the studio.
And who are we? What are we doing? We are the Boobies.
Boobies
I'm
podcast.
sitting
That's
here
us.
with Caitlin.
And you're Joshua.
I am today. I'm
holding
at least.
hands.
Oh, your nails feel cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
They're
really like
extra
the
grown out.
texture. Yeah,
Smooth.
I'm just one of those people too that like I have to touch everything though.
Yeah.
Like, it's like
Very
you know.
Tactile.
Very much so.
think
I was
that's
in
the
a bar the other day and they had fur on the wall and it
Oh.
was so nice.
I imagine that could get really
Oh, I also
gross.
made that comment. I was like, if 6 months or something, this is gonna be all matted and like nasty.
Yeah.
But they're just opened, and so yeah, it was pretty cool.
That is.
yeah.
Also, today you could refer to me as Miss Klein.
Miss Klein.
Miss Klein.
I like how it's just MS.
Yes, because I'm not married.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm not young either.
You're young.
I know, but I'm not like
We're both young.
MISS young. you
I'm
know?
young.
We're both young.
We are.
All right. Anyways, we're boobies. Did we say that?
Yeah, we did. We
We
got
did.
that one out the
We
way.
said Caitlin and Joshua?
Yeah.
Dang.
And if you don't know yet, we're here to talk about some horror movies.
We are,
We're here to
yes.
talk about spooktacular, spooktastic, everything in between, from murder to goblins and ghosts and
Aliens?
to
Creatures from the deep.
films that kill people as well.
Yeah.
ish.
Ghost, yes. Ghost, yeah. I don't know. Really cool.
This one kind of
Just
had like
psychotic breaks.
a really good mix. Like it was like a film that kind of touched like 5 different points. It was
Yeah.
making like a pentagram for me.
It was. And so
Um,
if you don't remember, we are doing a month of Shudder.
We are. Shout out to Shudder.
Yeah, ones that are exclusive. This is a streaming service I've had long before we even started this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I do love horror films. There's only 3 streaming services I actually pay for. Shudder is one of them.
Can I guess the other one?
Yes,
Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll,
Okay.
and then Funimation, which
Okay.
Funimation just got absorbed by Crunchyroll. So
I've never heard of Funimation.
it's just another animation studio.
Mm-hmm.
But so now I only have to pay for 2.
Cute.
I don't
Fun.
know, but maybe I should
Saves you
get
money.
Hulu sometime.
Hulu is
I did get
actually.
logged out of
well,
that
you know
one.
what? You know what? Actually, I will give it to Hulu lately. They've been having really good content.
I know, and that's why I'm like,
yeah.
I have to get it.
I think that's why Netflix has also like dropped in like what did they say like 200 something million or thousand subscribers whatever
yeah,
they
because
lost in
their
the last quarter.
stuff has sucked
Sorry.
recently.
Maybe let's not shit on them just yet. Future
Shudder all the
sponsorships,
way.
But Shudder, yes.
Yeah, if you want the best horror content that you could possibly come across, the
Mhm.
widest variety of everything from just like super old films,
Mhm.
which is super cool. It's
They have a
fun
lot
to
of stuff
watch
that I
that.
never would have found.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, things that you would
otherwise.
never come across
Mhm.
otherwise. And if you are a fan of horror, this is the way to go. Like it is 1000% worth the little. It's not expensive.
No, it's not at all. It's $5.99 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I
It's
just
pretty
go ahead
cheap
and pay for the whole
compared
year.
to all the other ones.
At
Oh, you
once?
save money doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And so I really think I only pay $50 a year.
Sounds like
Which
we're
is,
really
like, worth it.
talking it up.
Yeah.
Selling the Shudder. Yeah, but today our movie, it's called The Canal.
Yeah, and this was one of your picks.
The
We
Canal.
The
Yeah.
Canal.
Yeah, I liked it because it had the word anal in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
pretty
you
like,
love
I was like,
anal.
oh, I didn't even notice the C at the beginning of it, to be honest.
The anal.
Yeah. And then I looked up on the little synopsis thing and I kind of was like, because we both have decided that I'm going to pick 2 and you pick 2.
Mhm.
And so I was just like, doing my little Google review too. And it seemed like I was like, okay, there's kind of like more positive reviews than not reviews. So I
Yeah,
was
it
like, let me
got-
try it out.
It had pretty good
Mhm.
reviews on, like,
The
I think it had
Rotten
a
Tomatoes, I think it had
81% or something, or 86 is what it was.
something like that.
And it,
I don't remember. To be
okay,
honest.
JK, I guess it went down. What was I looking at this morning?
The other one that I might have mentioned, I think that one.
Oh, maybe.
That one had some pretty high reviews.
but the
points.
Canal,
But anyways,
2014,
Mhm.
it has a 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb, 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 3.5 out of 5. I'm going to be honest, I did not read anything going into
you were
this
just
movie.
like raw dogged it.
Yeah.
You didn't even know what it was about.
Yep,
I
had
like
no
that.
clue. I figured a canal had something to do with it.
I didn't even really put that together. To be honest with you, I still didn't even like.
You're
I'm
fucking
telling
kidding
you,
me?
I'm telling you that I was like canal, anal. I was just like, this looks
Your
cool.
mind was, you had a
You know
one-track
what's
mind.
another
Anal.
thing too, and then also the actor I recognized him from something else from before, and so I was like, I trust that he can.
He did look very familiar.
I trust that he can, at least sell me on whatever this is. So I don't know, and he did.
Rupert Evans.
Yeah,
the
Rupert
name
Evans.
is very
He's an
familiar.
Irish actor.
Oh, he was in Charmed.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
the reboot.
It's a
And a couple
reboot.
other things. Huda Ha.
Hellboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Hellboy. That's right. He was Dickface from Hellboy, who
Mm.
was in love with Selma Blair. Fire Girl. I forget her name.
Oh, he was in The Boy.
Oh,
That's right.
I've never seen The Boy.
Okay.
So
I actually kind of like that movie.
I've heard a lot of people like The Boy.
Yeah.
But that The Boy 2 was shit.
Yes.
Shite.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it. No, I haven't. I'm a liar.
Mm.
Anyways,
Yeah.
we
Back to
watched
the canal.
The Canal today,
Which
I watched
was-
it today.
I watched it actually on Friday, and I watched it again today. So I kind of had a double viewing with it. I watched it on Friday without taking notes, and I watched it today taking notes. Because I was like, let me actually have like a of how it all went down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that because I realized from a few weeks ago, I don't remember what movie it was, I did that process, and I feel like I could get more out of it. Like, we're watching it the first time without taking the notes, because I'm kind of letting myself get lost in the immersive of just like being in it.
And then you could really find more things.
Exactly. And then the second time I was like, oh, that. Yeah, like there was a lot of little like in the films, and like when things would pop up, I was like, I didn't even see that the first time.
Yeah.
Because you blink and you miss it.
Yeah, a lot of it is very fast.
Don't blink, you guys, please. Whenever you
Don't
watch this
blink.
movie, like get some staplers and staple your eyelids open.
I was like, isn't that a movie?
Actually,
That's
sorry,
from Doctor
I can't
Who.
advocate that. Sorry, I will not be liable for you to do that, but do it anyways.
Tape your eyelids to your eyebrows.
And
It'll be
so, should we just dig in there?
Let's get into it.
Yeah, so we open up, and it's basically like you hear little chit chatter, kind of like people in the background, and it goes to being in a classroom setting, and we have our main guy, which his name is David, right? David, yeah, and he is a video archivist,
Yes,
film archivist, and he basically looks at old crime scene footage to, I guess, help understand old crimes, new crimes, whatever's going on with it. And he also, I guess, teaches it because he has a classroom right there. And I love how he's opening up. He's like, do y'all want to see some ghosts?
Yeah.
And they all kind of like get quiet, and they're paying attention.
You got my attention.
And
he got my attention with it. I was like,
yeah, I was like, me, literally. I was like,
I put the
me.
raised hand emoji.
Me. I want to see some ghosts.
Yeah.
We're the same. And then he's like saying like, these are all like videos of people that have died a long time ago. So
Yeah,
technically
long
it's
dead.
like watching a ghost.
Yeah, and I put, man, what a tease.
I was like, but it
God,
was a good open
motherfucker.
up. And then we get a like flash to like
Very
the
harsh
title
flash.
of the movie,
To
which is
Canal.
The Canal.
Which
Canal.
was
Some
really good.
people
I
would
like
say
that.
Canal.
Do they?
I think some people.
You.
Yes.
Okay.
So the Canal, as Caitlin would like to call it, and we
You do
get
know
this.
it is actually called Canal, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know. Is this like something that you're like?
No, I'm just.
Did you?
Sold on it.
Well, like sometimes when you never say a word out loud, that
I never used the word canal.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like I didn't know if maybe like you just like had it in your head and then
Never.
you got to this point and then you were like,
I would
the
never.
canal.
I would never say canal. I don't know what other word I would use for it. Small river, but I would never say canal.
oh, sometimes I say ear canal.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I guess I don't ever talk about my ears like that. Ear canal. I just say ear hole.
Ear hole.
That's the hole in my
Got
head.
my
That's the
ear
hole in
hole.
my head. And so we have some cool image sequence happening, kind of just to give us a sense of what this movie's about.
I put, what in the ring is this?
Literally, yeah.
I put
Very
JK.
very much that though.
It was a great little short, creepy film.
But I did, yeah. It was a good little opener to like really tease us of like what
Kind of
really
like
we do see the
also
rest of the movie.
An American Horror Story, like most of
Oh,
those
yeah,
openers.
that makes sense. Yeah. I see that as well.
Very just like a bunch of disturbing footage. Things that are somewhat ordinary, but
Just to
with-
make you unsettled.
yeah, with the combination that they're going through, it's like, ooh. Ugh.
Yeah.
Or they'll like play things backwards, and like when you watch people move backwards, it's very uncomfortable.
I'm actually, if
Not a
anything,
fan.
most of the seasons for American Horror Story, usually the opening title sequence is better than the whole entire season.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's the actual only like somewhat disturbing, scary part of that show.
Except for the seasons 1, 2, and 3, I will give it to them. Those were like the golden era, I guess, or whatever. It's like when an idea is good at the beginning, and then like you want to keep it. Everything has its season, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I still watch it every time that it comes out. So
Yeah. Actually, I haven't watched the last two. So
we did. Yeah, we tried to. We did the stories that one time, and then that was like
shit.
That was shit. Yeah. Anyway, so we're back to the movie, and now we have it's going back to his friend, I guess, that he works with, and we find out later her name is Claire.
Spelled Clare. Weird.
Oh.
According to my closed captioning.
Yeah.
Also,
maybe that's like a British spelling or an Irish spelling.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck was up with my TV, but I like closed out of Shudder and everything. My closed captioning for this film did not line up. It was way behind. Like,
really?
So by the time they were in the car and like David and Claire were driving up to the house and stuff, and she's like, she's gonna love it, is when I got, y'all want to see some ghosts?
Oh, God.
And I was like, well, that's really fucking late. So I kept getting very confused, because then it would be
happening?
Like screaming happening, and I'm so used to reading it. And I was like,
moment.
They're screaming? Where?
It's getting very,
I can't hear it.
Yeah. I didn't have that problem, so that's weird. Maybe it just like maybe it was glitching. You just needed to like.
Yeah, I did.
Exit. Oh, well, did you unplug it and plug it back in?
No, I don't actually know how to unplug the Roku from. So
it's okay.
I'm just dumb.
Goes and like flips the entire power grid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we.
Sorry, Waco. Had to reset my shutter.
We have Claire dropping him off, and he's obviously seems a little nervous, and she's just kind of like reassuring him that she's gonna love it, which we find out is his pregnant wife who's waiting for him, and they're looking at a house.
Yeah, fuck that bitch.
Because I guess it doesn't really give you any context. We just are to assume that they were moving from somewhere else. They need a bigger place to raise a family, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, as most people do when they're pregnant. A lot of the times, if they haven't already like bought a house with the intention of raising a family, most of the time, if someone gets pregnant, they'll upsize because you need a room so your kids aren't like living on top of you.
Or
that
living in
like
the under the stairs, like the people
Harry
under the
Potter.
stairs, or Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Both.
Yours
Iconic.
is more fitting.
Well, I like Harry Potter too. You're a wizard, Harry. I'm a what? I'm a what? And so then we have the viewing of the house. She's looking at it, and
I was like, he bought a fucking house and didn't clear it with his wife.
Well, yeah,
I was like,
well, I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was sold just yet. I think it was more so he was getting her final approval. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Because the realtor was still there.
Well, but he was like, I don't even want to like
walk
with you because I'm nervous of your reaction. And I was like, if he hasn't, I feel like he already purchased it. Because then, like, if she's like, I fucking hate this place.
Tough titty.
He's going to be like, well, shit, I already spent all our money on it.
Yeah.
So.
But they're in it. And this is when we get our first little, she's kind of looking around. And also, too, I mean, the whole vibe between them throughout this whole movie. But anyways, right now, too, there's something, like, between the air and them. It's a little tense.
Yes.
Right?
Something seems
off. Amiss. They're not, like, in love. It seems really like.
I mean, she did seem happy and stuff, and they seemed a little more like wistful and like getting carried away with things. But yeah.
Anyways, and so she's going upstairs, and this is when we first get our kind of hint of like, oh yeah, this is a horror movie.
I just also don't. How do you not communicate with your partner? I'm sorry.
Like still stuck on that.
Yeah. No.
No, I feel you.
If somebody bought a house, well, I guess it happened in Schitt's Creek too. Patrick buys a house for David.
For David.
Yeah, but I don't know.
David.
Like, I feel like if it's a good surprise, sure. But otherwise, like, I feel like I talk with my partner so much that I wouldn't be able to just not bring up, like, hey, by the way, I'm buying a house for us. Like,
who knows?
I don't know.
That's why that dynamic is off. That's what I'm saying. There's like something's weird. That's why.
That's fucking weird. It's fucking weird.
This should have been talked about. This shouldn't be like is she gonna like it? Is she not? It's not like a sweater. Yeah. It's a house.
That's a lot more commitment.
Investment. And so we get into this situation where it's not necessarily a situation, but he then sees a shadow go like walk past the like basement downstairs, like, he sees a shadow.
Yeah.
So of course
I've
got to go follow it.
Yeah.
And so he goes to follow the shadow, and it leads him outside, and it kind of takes him to where this manhole is. Which one? I'm like,
I put very Ring vibes again with the reflection shot,
true.
and I was like,
but also too, like a manhole just in someone's backyard, like
super weird,
like just in their backyard.
Seems odd.
Yeah, and it's like half open. It's like really like
and
big
like
liability.
just in the dirt. Like you expect manholes in the middle of a street.
It's just wide open, and he looks down it, and I was expecting to see something like jump out at least at that part, but it's a good thing. It's just kind of more to build suspense. That
it is a nice long shot of him. Just a reflection.
It's scary too. Yeah. I mean, I would be scared looking at that.
Any sort of because it builds the tension and it makes you think something will pop out there. Yeah. And so whenever you get a long shot like that, and also I make a note of it later, but this film does a wonderful job of playing on the silence. Things. It's like the silence is almost so loud at some points, and then they use like very ordinary tasks that got me to jump. Like it literally at one point someone zips it back, and I was like, "Fuck!" And I was like, "That was just a zipper." It was a very ordinary task, but because things are so quiet throughout, it makes you uncomfortable, and you're like kind of on edge. And I feel like this shot did the same thing.
Yeah,
and I really liked it.
I love that you picked up on that. Yeah. It was very much like that kind of movie where it builds an ambience mostly, as opposed to like you really seeing things. Because a lot of the visuals were also too just like very like you blink and you miss it,
out of the corner of your eye.
Yeah,
like real spirits would be. You're not like most of the time. I don't know. Any of my
experiences,
spectral encounters have been very fleeting. I don't know. I had a few more that were pretty intense when I was young, but most of them are like out of the corner of your eye kind of thing.
This reminds me, just like last night, I think, or was it the night before?
You saw a ghost?
No. Oh. There's a very logical explanation to it, but it was so scary when it happened. I was on my way to Robert's Place, and I have to like put in a little gate code to get into the complex, and it's happens to be right in front of like one of the apartments that are there, and oh my gosh, it was so frightening, Caitlin. I am like going in to put in the code, right? And out of the corner of my eye, I just see these glowing eyes looking. And I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, ooh, what was that? And so then I'm not looking. I'm like, you gotta look, because it's obviously something else. And so we look, and it's two black cats looking out of the window, but it just has the screen, like, because it was the night it was like almost raining. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
There's wind, and so anyways, it like blurred them a little bit, and then I could barely make them out, but all I could see were their glowing like dark eyes.
I love it.
But the way that my mind and all the scary movies I've seen, like like when your mind fills in like the blanks, like the image that I saw when I was putting in that code scared the fuck out of me. I'm glad. Yeah, I looked back and it was just the two cats, and they literally did not move. They were just looking at me like this.
They're like, "What the fuck this bitch doing?
Literally.
Why are you trying to get in here? Let me go mess with his shit."
Anyways, all right, sorry. So yeah, we are looking into that hole of darkness, and then we have the wife and him on the steps, and she approves.
Cuts to him.
Cool.
I put cute. She likes it. Yay.
They kiss. We seem a little bit more happy in love, and then we cut to a big black screen that says 5 years later.
5 years later.
Which time jumps. I like those.
I do too, because it didn't waste. Oh, okay. Also, this little boy kind of annoyed the fuck out of me.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to
also, okay, no,
that's where we had to.
Without my closed captioning, I couldn't understand a goddamn word he was saying. Yeah. All I would hear was
I think it hits a certain like decibel too of like the way his voice was so high pitched as well, and like.
It was very high, and I was like, "Is this your actual like cadence of your voice?" Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't know, something with his face, like. He is a child.
My first,
but we've seen some very good child actors before.
This boy is hella creepy.
Oh, really?
I thought he was creepy.
Oh, he just kind of annoyed the fuck out of me the whole time.
Well,
I was like,
he was annoying as well, but I thought he was also creepy.
I was like, be better, little kid.
I just thought he was creepy. But yeah, and it was also like, how old was he?
I don't know.
Had to be at least 5, right?
Oh, yes. Well,
5 years later, that makes sense. Because I guess she was pregnant. Blonde moment, my bad. But still, I guess, I don't know. He just like, I don't know. Yeah, it seemed like I didn't understand why he was talking so baby like that. Because, at 5, should be. I have nieces and nephews. They didn't talk like that at 5.
Yeah,
so I was gonna like. I was like, this is a
ages.
weird portrayal of a little kid. Like a kid trying to like either he was like an older kid trying to act young and it was coming off really badly, or they got a really this is literally like a 2-year-old that they were trying to pass off as a 5-year-old.
He's just a very big 2-year-old.
That's why I was like, what's happening?
Yeah,
because also too I couldn't understand half of the thing he was saying sometimes.
But anyways, he wakes up. Well, basically the mom gets a text.
Suspicious.
Yeah. Immediately. Yeah. David is like, who is that? And
who is he?
Because he already kind of got some vibes. Yeah. And then in comes little boy. What's his name again?
Billy.
That's right.
Billy the kid.
Billy the kid comes in and he's like, I heard a noise and I am scared and I have to go pee.
Exactly.
So dad goes with him.
You got this.
Oh, and he asks his dad while he's peeing. He says, Dad, are you afraid of the dark? And then his dad was like, no. And he was like, are you? And he was like, no. But there could be something hiding in the dark.
Yeah, and I was like, it's the way this kid had like all these inquisitions like at this moment. Like he was just asking away.
I really expected him to be able to see more. But then I guess it makes more sense that it's actually just a decline of mental stability.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to mental stability.
Yeah, I don't have it.
And so, we have him asking all the questions, and then we get back to the bed. No, I remember that.
This is so long ago.
We, showing our age, we get back to the bedroom, and then he asks again, like, who was that? And that's the way she tells him that it was Steve from work, right?
A message from Steve.
Yeah.
And I put,
I don't know.
A little emoji.
And so she said something about like him working all the time, so he believes everybody else should always be on their phone or on call. And so then she's like, I love you. And then they have a little sex scene.
Yeah, then they just do it.
Kind of come out of nowhere. Because it just cuts to it.
Yeah, it just cuts and it's like, he's on top of her. They're going at it.
It's not even like a segue. It's literally like you guys, it's like they're in bed and then it's like cut, screen, flash, and then it's their fucking.
Sex.
And then sex.
Yeah. And then it's the way they just like roll over and go to sleep. And I was like,
it's not a horror movie if there's nobody having sex. So
true.
They needed one scene.
We didn't even get titties, so. But then I was like, they roll over at the end of it and they're just like, good night. And I was like, is she just going to go to sleep with this load in her? Like, the man obviously came and he didn't rip off a condom or nothing. And so I was just
Can you put that on a shirt? She's just going to go to sleep with this load in her?
I was just so confused. I was like, if I don't go to the bathroom after sex, like, I will get a UTI.
Yeah.
I mean, and even when I do go to the bathroom, I will get a UTI. I'll just get a UTI. And so,
that's hilarious.
Like, it's, I was just like, how this bitch just, I mean, also that shit will, like,
that's married life?
Seep out. No. I mean, that cum will just, I don't want to be sitting with that, like, on my legs.
Maybe.
Dripping out.
It's a movie, though, too. So it's, I think it's one of those things where we're not supposed to think about that. That's the unglamorous. It's movies. The movies don't show the
I want to
see
parts of someone laying there like a goddamn toaster strudel getting wiped up. That's what I need to see.
By
Man
like
running
a random
to the bathroom.
T-shirt. Like, by like a random T-shirt on the floor.
Yeah, that's a horror.
Not even a towel.
I'm just kidding. I'm kind of into it.
And so we have them, and then it turns into the next day. And then it's just like, we're getting ready. We had our little toaster strudel. And then everybody's like, goodbye for the day. And he's telling her that he doesn't want her to work late. And she's just like, well, I'm still probably going to work late.
Yeah.
And so
she's like, I hear you, she's and like, I'm not going to do it.
Literally. She's like, I'll try not to be too late. And then we have little boy walking to school with his dad. And once again, this boy's asking so many questions. I guess he's at that age.
Yeah. I mean, he is and I remember being that age, like super hungry for knowledge. I just wanted to know everything. And then I would hyperfixate on things.
True. Everything is new.
Like I literally wrote a whole book and, well, not a book, but like, a few pages, but I like
fanfic
cut it out. No, I have written some of that too, though. But it was like, I cut it out. I was like super obsessed with like mummies and Egypt. I love mummies. And so like, then I
was just watching something about Egypt before I came here.
You were watching The Mummy?
No,
I'm just kidding.
I would actually watch The Mummy the other day, but I was watching the History Undiscovered channel.
I love it.
And there was something about Egypt. Never mind.
Right, I saw a mummy the other day. Saw its little toes. At a museum. Not in
so did I in Chicago.
Mine was just Dallas.
Oh, mummies.
But anyways, I cut it out to look like a little pyramid and stuff. And then I like bound it and wrote all these things about facts with mummies and stuff. So it's like, I get it. Like I remember like his fixation.
Getting excited about the dinosaurs.
The dinosaurs.
I love that.
I had a dinosaur backpack into my freshman year of college.
I'm still obsessed with dinosaurs.
They're really fucking cool. I wish I knew more.
That he said that the Stegosaurus was his favorite. I'm a Triceratops person. I love Triceratops. And it just gives me also very like Power Rangers like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
I loved
it. And so anyways, yeah, we have him. They're walking on the way to school, and then it's the way that they walk past the canal restrooms, which we're gonna see a lot later on in the film. But it's kind of foreshadowing. And he's like, I guess he said his friend told him that there was ghosts in the canal or something like that.
Yeah. He said his friend has seen a ghost in that like restroom, and he goes, "Can we throw a stone to see if the ghost is there?"
Yeah.
And the dad's like, "Okay, yeah, you can throw one stone."
Cute.
So they do, and
it's just like a kid, because this is exactly something my niece or nephew would do. And then he's like, "Can I throw another?" And I'm like, "No, we're done. One's enough.
Can I have some more?
Can I have some more porridge? Some more soup?"
And he had also asked about swimming in the canal.
Oh, that's
and he
true.
was like, "Daddy, can we swim in the canal?" And he's, I don't know.
I love it. That's exactly how he sounded like.
Yeah, very high pitched.
He's like, "Can I swim in the canal? Can you swim in the canal?"
Dad says it's too deep for both of them.
Yeah.
So
foreshadowing. A whole lot of this movie is foreshadowing. When I watched it back the second time, I was like, "Oh, that's literally gonna come back later on in the movie."
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. At this point, I was like, "Okay."
Or it's just like a really parallel type of like metaphor. I don't know. And so yeah, we have them. He gets to school. He's bye to the little annoying ass
Billy boy
kid. And then we have them going to the dinner right after that. Or he goes to work.
Yes, he goes to work, and we get to see him and Claire. And already, I'm like, his and Claire's relationship is hella weird. Claire's like super touchy. I was like,
super into him.
I was like, is this bitch cheating too? I was like, they both two-timing each other. What's going on?
She's putting down hella vibes. She's laying it down thick.
Like awfully close.
It's not
kind of like touching his face and shit. I'm like,
the way that she's talking to him too. It's like in the like the tone of voice that she's using with him. It's very kind of like, not flirty, but like talking to a lover.
Yeah. Exactly. You talk to your partner,
boyfriend, your girlfriend,
a different way than you talk to anyone else. And it was very much those vibe. I was like, and then. So then she says, "I found some other videos that I need you to go through." And so he sits down, punches it in, and it says, "Police video, 1902." But the police video font, I was like, what the fuck is this font?
The way
they
it was
didn't have
like,
this shit in 1902.
Yeah.
What's that font?
It gave very silent film.
I hated it.
1920s type of silent film. You know what I mean?
Yes, but the font didn't even, it felt weird. I was like, this font did not exist in 1902. Give me some more marquee shit.
Putting your inspective eye on it.
Yeah. I don't know, but
I love it. Critique them.
But very old. Obviously, it's 1902. This was happening, and I'm assuming somewhere around 2014.
Yeah, whenever the
when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And automatically, he's like, "Oh, that's my street." It's like Black Street flashes, and he's like, "That's my street." And then he sees his house, and it's like, "Oh shit! Something's about to go down."
Yeah.
And yeah, we find out that a murder has taken place in the house that he bought, and in some places they don't have to disclose murders in a house if it's been over a certain period of time.
Yeah, that's true.
And so by that point, I'm sure it had been over 100 years. So they were like, but then also the previous owner killed their baby,
killed their son in a fire. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how long it had been prior after that since the house went on sale.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a lot that wasn't disclosed to them before they bought this house. Because obviously he took it as a shock whenever he was like, "That's my fucking house."
That's my fucking house, and I'm seeing bodies being carried out, or I guess he's seeing crime scene photos from then. Yeah. And then he sees the bodies getting carried out of the canal, but. And he sees
the reaction. I mean, because also too, I mean, anything is merited, because I don't know how I would react if I was like watching something and I'm like, "Oh shit."
My bitch ass would be like, "Oh, that's fucking cool." I was like, "Let me get my Ouija board out. Let's start talking."
For real.
Just kidding. Ouija boards are kind of scary. I don't know,
because that opens up the door to a lot of other like things that aren't necessarily whatever. But also too, but it's not.
I'm pretty sure that's what opened stuff in my old house.
But it's also too in the way that it's not like just like someone died or someone passed away. Like it was legit. Like it's a murder. It's a
violent crime.
Yeah, violent crime. Very violent hateful crime.
Which then tends to have very vengeful spirits.
Other things that start attaching itself to that area.
It gave me very Amityville horror vibes. I was like, is this going to be an Amityville horror situation?
Well, this movie was very much like a culmination of a lot of different movies in one, to be honest.
I think I just mentioned quite a few in here.
Yeah.
And I was like, is he going to kill like his whole family? And a little bit.
Almost.
But yeah. Anyways.
But, so yeah, we have that whole whatever. He then sees all that, comes home, and then starts telling his wife, like as they're getting ready for some
casually.
Very casually as they're getting ready for some evening that they have to go to, I guess her gala.
Yeah.
And he's like, I had a really weird day. I saw like our house in a murder video.
Yep.
Yeah. Very violent crime.
He was like, a man murdered his wife right in this room, and she was like, what?
And then she has an appropriate reaction, I feel like, and then it's where he's like, oh, it's okay, and murders happen in every old house, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's
I'm like not every house,
and
not the house that I want to live in, at least. And so they're getting ready. They then go talk to the new babysitter nanny kind of thing that they hired,
Sophie?
who's gonna be Sophie, who's gonna be taking care of Billy for the night.
Yes,
and
Alice did look hella fine.
Oh, she did look good.
She looked real good.
Yeah, she looked like she wasn't dressing to
impress.
Or was. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. She wasn't dressing for him. She was dressing for someone else, most definitely.
Whenever they get to the party, because they leave, they go to the party, and whenever they get there, that first man who comes up to her and like
the way he's
pulls
like
her away,
literally, and the way he's like, she's like, do you remember my husband? He's like, oh yeah, the what do you call him? The librarian.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm a archivist.
A film archivist.
Yeah. And so
poor
it's
guy.
like
he's getting shitted on the whole time.
He was, and I put if she is cheating on with that man, like cheating on him with that man, I was like, I already knew. I was like, this bitch cheating.
Yeah,
she cheating. And then I was like, if she's cheating on him with that man, I'm like, that man better have a fuck ton of money or something.
That would be the only reason why, or it's like a networking thing, like go her way into like whatever, because a lot of it was like she kept mentioning work, and this is a work function, so yeah. But yeah,
turns out it wasn't him.
It's actually some fine ass man.
I know, he was very attractive. Beautiful. I was like, okay, I see it.
I can't be mad at it almost.
But also, I mean, David was attractive too. It's not like he was an unattractive male.
No, he's not.
Like whenever he stood up like from bed a few times with his little pants like kind of rolled down a little bit, I was like,
the hot flashes.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
I see.
It was no, I think also too, I mean, there's a lot of this part of the film too where like I make notes from like, why was everybody just so okay with like poor him, right? Because like one, not even like
like after
the death too and everything, everybody's just like, oh,
well, you knew she was cheating on you for like a year.
Her boyfriend, yeah, like she was in love with him.
How are y'all okay with this woman cheating on her family?
Yeah.
Like
everybody
she has a kid with this man.
Because it's sad because everybody essentially knew, apparently except him. Like everybody knew. The friends.
Yeah, he didn't seem to clue in until right then.
Yeah, and so anyways, we have the little dinner happening, and then he notices that she's talking to that dude, and he gets like very like suspicious about it. Obviously,
he's like brushing her arm.
Yeah, they obviously know each other, and then she comes back, and he's kind of asking who that was, and it's like
she's
very
clearly lying through her teeth. I just put she lying.
Yeah, because she has a hard time. Like it's a client or a client of a client who's trying to introduce me to a new client. But anyways, and they go dance, and it's the way that I think she tells him she loves him, right? And he like doesn't say anything back. She's like, I love you, and then that's what I noted. I was like, wow, this like is really awkward.
And then like because she takes his drink.
This is a horror movie.
She's like, let's go out. Like, let's go do stuff. And then he's like, let me finish this. And then she takes his drink and takes a big swig of it too. And it's like,
ooh, that's never a good sign when you need to be inebriated to be with someone.
Exactly. But so then it flashes back to him at work, and he's watching more films, and he sees that quite often the canal is a very big factor in a lot of the murders that have happened in their city.
Because he's watching a different one.
Or the immediate surrounding area.
Yeah.
But yeah, looks like a bunch of bodies are being pulled from the canal. He's got, I think we're seeing a little bit of like news
clippings that are like whenever you flash them and you know, you
Bury
guys
the
when there are
ring.
computers. Yeah. Which I always want to do that. I don't know what I would do it for, but I just want the experience of like going through old like newspapers on the computers and stuff. That's so cool. Yeah. But anyways, everything's super brutal. The way, especially too, we then get images of how the dude murdered the family, right? Or like stabbing the girl.
Yeah.
Right?
So he's having a rather trippy like dream sequence.
The nightmare,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, we're quite literally.
That we don't know it's a nightmare just yet until he wakes up. That's why.
Exactly. Yeah. And they do a good job of like, at some point I feel like I kind of clued
Obviously,
in that
this
I was
is
like, But yes, you basically see the original wife of the 1902 murders. So she was cheating on her husband, and that is why he murdered her. And I guess their other 2 children were watching as he did
murdered her.
And they were just like hiding, obviously scared. But homeboy like went
Brutal.
ham. Like I'm talking
that
like
at
least 30 stab wounds.
It was a crime of passion.
And then he slits her throat, and you're just like watching as like blood is like
it's
gurgling out of her throat.
Yeah, it's pretty gory.
Yeah. But tastefully done. Like it was very well done. I did not at all like I wasn't.
It was like so much in a way where like I felt like I don't even know these characters, but if you like feel bad for the victim almost in that moment, because you're like, oh, that's so like guttural.
It looked very kind of real.
Yeah.
Like I mean, most of the crime scene photos did seem real, and then watching the murder happen, it felt like I was. I mean, I've not ever witnessed a murder, but I imagine it had to be pretty damn close to that. Like, oh, I don't know, watching the knife go into her throat and shit. Ugh, fuck.
Good practical effects too.
Yeah,
because
good.
You see it. And so we have this whole nightmare sequence of that happening, and then he's kind of, I guess it's his family's getting like mixed into the picture with it. And then he wakes up and he's like hearing something in the wall after that, right?
Yeah, and I think something that also happened in the dream basically triggers him to like suspect the wall. And then he hears that like sort of whispering, he says, like somebody praying, I think he says later. And he keeps hearing that. And so then he goes and he's like pressing his ear to the wall, and it's very silent. And this is where it cuts to the fucking zipping of the backpack. Because it goes to the next morning. And so it was like very quiet, and you're like listening. It's like you've got your ear pressed to the wall with him, and you're like, okay. And then it's like, and I was like, fuck. It scared me so bad.
It didn't get me. I'm sorry. You're alone in that one. But I feel that.
It didn't scare me like so bad, but I was like,
yeah, I get it though, because because at that point too, I think also too, I went over it twice because I was really trying to hear what he was hearing, because then that's how they get you that's why me too. So I was like, oh,
I had my like volume pressed up because I couldn't read the subtitles with it. So I was just like, what is it? What's happening?
But it was, it's that little jump scare, and we have them getting ready. Yeah, I think actually I misspoke earlier when I said this is the part whenever he's telling her not to come to work. Not to come home from work.
Yeah, it is actually.
Because they have 2 morning sequences,
They do.
And so once again, like she's sending them off out the door. They just had their little food or whatever, and breakfast moment, and he's telling her not to get home from late work, and she's obviously telling him like, I'm trying not to be too late, and that's really much it. There's no really kind of like, oh, okay, like, because I forget why he tells her, or she asks why, what's the problem, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't, he's just
like,
like,
I just want you to be home.
Yeah.
And but then we find out that he is basically telling her for the day. I assume he doesn't have to be at work all the time. Maybe his hours are a little bit,
maybe it was his off day, I don't know,
flexible.
Or he just played hooky.
Yeah. And he spent the day in a diner across from her work office, and we watch as she leaves the office with, I'm assuming,
Alex.
Steve.
His name's Alex.
Okay, Alex.
The boyfriend.
And so we watch her leave with Alex, and already they're being like obnoxious. It's very flirtatious.
Yeah,
the vibe
you can tell that
is,
they're an item, a couple, and then he's tailing them, he's following them, and then he follows them to a house essentially.
He follows them for like the whole day.
Yeah, literally, because it's like showing that it's already turned into like dusk.
Yeah.
Not necessarily nighttime, but like the sun's going down.
And he doesn't look to be following them like super
inconspicuously. Yeah. He's very obvious. And then even at a certain point, he starts like yelling her name out, but she doesn't hear him. She goes into the house, and that's whenever he gets that phone call. And this is what takes me out Oh my God. When the little boy calls, did you read what he said or hear what he said? He said, I'm still at the school. Are you coming to collect me?
Oh, that's right. Are you coming to collect me?
Because he forgot his son at school. And I can tell you guys,
he was so wrapped up.
I've been this child. I've been forgotten at school before. It's not the funnest thing.
Oh, no.
Because you see all your friends leave and then all of a sudden the last teacher's there and then they're just like, oh,
they're waiting with you.
Yeah. And then they're like, where's your parent? I'm like, I don't know. Call him. Yeah.
Well, and that would happen to me a lot too before I had a cell phone.
Yeah.
And then my brothers and I would be the last 3 kids at the school, and the people with the after school program were like, "What the fuck is your parent getting here?"
Yeah.
Little shits.
I was this had to be 2nd grade for me, so
I was forgotten as an adult out of school. Someone forgot my car was broken. Or no, my car was fine. They just didn't have a car.
Yeah.
And they forgot to come pick me up. And I was like, I had to wait in the freezing cold, but that school was haunted.
But so the little kid was literally, it seems like it's really late. But anyways, he's just, and the school's empty. Nobody's there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wait, who was waiting here with the kid? Because it literally seems like he was just there by himself, just waiting. And then I'm like, how did he call?
Someone else was waiting with him.
Did he? I missed that part.
He said something about, someone else was there, and so he said his friend, he was one of the last kids who was there as well.
Okay. And so anyways, yeah, we have that whole little sequence. They get back home. Obviously the wife isn't back home yet because they're going through this whole little thing where they're having dinner, and
it's just the 2 of them at the table.
2 of them. He's getting ready for bed, puts the little boy to bed, but then he makes sure that little Billy's asleep, and then you see him leave. He's going back on the prowl, shows up to the same house that we saw his wife go into earlier. Her name's Alice. And he goes inside, and it's the way that this house is really, really weird too. Because I'm like, why is he in an unfinished house? There's
it's under construction.
Anyways, he goes in there and
he breaks in remarkably easily.
The door's unlocked, is it not? Because he just literally opens it, and homeboy sees what nobody should ever hopefully see: their spouse or significant other. She's literally getting railed by this dude.
She is,
and it's just showing.
And she looks much more enthused than
about this sex than when they were having sex.
Their sex.
And so
it was a more fun position, I will say.
Yeah. I see. Yeah. No. Most definitely.
Hips.
And also too, it's the way that it almost felt like I was like, this place is giving murder. This place is giving
she was like
vibes. It was like a mat on a floor.
Tarp, and then there was like a single lamp
Those
in
lights
the corner
that you hang in like a garage.
And there was no
exposed
lampshade.
Light.
No lampshade. It was just there, and
romantic, you guys.
Maybe like a paint stick in the corner kind of thing.
My fantasy. And so anyways, poor dude picks up a hammer and is probably thinking for a whole moment, I'm gonna get him, but then does what other people would do.
I put because this is where I put, were you gonna have some sort of Amityville situation where he ends up killing her? And then I was like, oh fuck, he's breaking and entering. And then I was like, oh shit, is he gonna fucking kill them? I thought he was right then.
I thought so too. And then he doesn't, or at least we're gonna find out. And so anyways,
he doesn't use the hammer.
Yeah, he doesn't use the hammer.
And now a word from our sponsors.
All right. And we're back at 44, 50.
So he, doesn't hit them with the hammer. And we have him walking outside with the hammer still. And it's the way that it kind of cuts away to where it's almost alluding to we don't know if he did or if he didn't.
Yeah, because it doesn't give you a very clear shot of the hammer.
Yeah.
It did appear to not be covered in blood, but it still, like I said, was kind of convoluted. But then we see him tossing the hammer into the canal. He disposes of it.
And it's the way, even for me in my notes, I was like, that hammer is going to come back later.
Yeah, I was his fingy prints are all over that shit. But then I was like, maybe the canal will wash it off. I don't know. But then he's getting very sick. Super sick. And then also, what the fuck is this bathroom?
It's horrible. I would never go into that bathroom. It's the most gross, disgusting thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yes, and I don't understand how the lighting wasn't, if I had a bathroom like that in my city, I would have.
Oh, I would
just
never
had
go
it
there. That
condemned.
just looks like and then also just looks like you're gonna get murdered. Why would you ever walk down there and by yourself? It looks very unsafe.
The light was never fully on. It was constantly flickering.
Yeah.
And then it just looked like there was dirt all inside, and then the toilet looked like it was covered in fucking like SpaghettiOs or some sort of shit, like just
SpaghettiO.
exploded.
Yeah, and it's the way that he was so close to it, puking, and
I know he put his hands on it, and I was so like,
gross.
ew.
But homeboy is also kind of going through it, and I don't think he's thinking about any of that.
Yeah, I mean, he is also like violently ill, but I think I would have opted for the grass outside over that.
And so he's in there throwing up, and he's stuck in the stall, and it's the way that at that point he starts hearing things, and then we start to see the little feet walk up to the bottom of the stall, where you can see like there's someone outside the stall.
And before he slipped into the bathroom too, you could see someone appeared behind him on the street as well. They showed up right as he was slipping in, and then then they're standing outside the stall, and homeboy's like wigging out. I don't know. It was rather intense, and it's very creepy.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, as you would say, because he's very having this like volatile reaction to, basically I feel like he's seeing his whole life shattering, in front of him at watching. And that's just, like I said, nobody wants to watch that happening. That would probably make me sick too. And so, we have this whole scene of that. And then we see the feet pop up underneath the stall door. And then we see these like fingers come on the top of the stall, and it's the way they'll pan up, we can tell like whatever this creature is, it's tall, because it's like it's just abnormally like the feet are down there, but the hands are up here, so it's just weird and it's unsettling.
The way that they panned up with so it was super fixated on the feet for a second, and the way that it like panned up, I was expecting some sort of like Slender Man, like Hat Man, just an obnoxiously large figure that was gonna be like grinning over the top.
I can see that. That's stall. What I was. It gave me very Babadook-ish vibes.
Yes. Just like that gigantic plastered smile, and I was like, ooh, fuck, that does freak me out.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, anything that's like unnaturally, like even if it's unnaturally small, I'm like, no, If I need you to be of normal proportions. Thank you. Yeah, that sounded very wrong. Never mind.
So anyways, he goes through this whole scene. And
tall people scare me.
He finally gets out of it. And then we have it basically, long story short, go into the next morning because Alice is still not home. Alice is not back.
Yeah. And also, because at this point I was like, wait, fuck, did he kill his wife? Because then you kind of get a flash of him.
He's like having a shower,
crawling out to the like bathroom door, and you're kind of seeing someone. You're seeing Alice struggle with someone, and so he's like. But I was like, wait, is it him? Is it someone else? Like, is he witnessing this? And and then he wakes up in the gross bathroom and goes home, and he has that whole shower moment and everything, and. I don't know. Yeah. And then he reports it to the police because he's like, my wife didn't come home. The next day he's
with the police and he's like, trying to report her missing, which he does. And then it kind of goes into this little montage of like them looking for her, right? Yeah. And they're trying to search for her, basically. And then
it's clear that the detective suspects him also.
Already.
And he's, I guess, yeah. Yeah.
Because we have that whole montage of him missing, and then we have it to where my next notes are like whenever he's back at home, and Sophie's like Billy's upstairs, whatever, and then he hears that loud thud upstairs, and then he goes, and then Billy's like, I had the dream about mom, I miss her, is she coming back home?
Yeah, hearing this stuff, and I don't know, and then I have my next, that's right, he goes to hug him. And hug him on the bed, and homeboy's in the reflection in the mirror. Yeah. The original murderer. Yeah. I was like, my next note is just homeboy was in the mirror.
Yeah. So that was the police. There was a little montage of like them searching for her, and then that's whenever like after the end of that whatever day was when they were searching, they're back, and then Billy's upstairs, and then he goes up there, and yes, the man was in the mirror. Michael Jackson. And so he sees him in the mirror, and he looks over his shoulder because he's like, what the fuck? But when of course he looks back over, he's not there.
No one's there.
And so it's then we have him ending up with the police officer again in the car, and they're having a conversation, and that's also too detective has the worst time to have acid reflux.
Oh, I know.
So I was like, what is the scene? Like, why was that necessary?
Yeah, I put the acid reflux scene is uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was like, it was not necessary. It didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And so anyways, he's basically just telling him, like, did you kill your wife? Because her boyfriend
came forward and said that he was with her that night. And
he has an alibi.
He was like, did you know that she was cheating on you? Apparently she'd been with him for at least a year.
Everybody knew.
Was planning to leave him was planning to leave him, and then basically all the friends and stuff they'd interviewed and all of her friends knew of Alex, and everyone was just like, yeah, that's her boyfriend. She was gonna leave David, kind of thing. Yeah. Everyone again remarkably chill about it.
Yeah, everybody's just like, yeah, okay, cool. Let's support
because it's not like David was. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we're not getting the whole picture, but he didn't seem to be
a bad guy.
Yeah,
or like something was going wrong.
A tad apathetic.
Yeah. Maybe a little clingy, but like not in a bad way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he just I feel like he didn't bring a lot of energy, and
that's true.
Maybe like he didn't.
He wasn't maybe just like the most exciting thing in the world, and maybe that's what she was just like having a little fling because it was like exciting. And so then, we have all of that happening.
But he straight up asks him if he killed her. And then he said,
how dare you?
Yeah. And he said people always suspect the husband because it's always the husband, which is true.
It is.
Always fucking suspect the husband. I put he not wrong.
And so then right after that, they find the body in the canal. They then identify the body, and then he's like, yep, that's my wife. And then they were like, it was an accident, this and that. Apparently her like heel broke and she fell in and she drowned. But then they were like, did you know she was pregnant? Because apparently she was fucking pregnant.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so then you have to be like, well, fuck, was it David's kid or was it Alex's kid? Yeah, I wonder.
Don't think it was David's kid.
Yeah, I don't know. She did fall asleep with this load in her. Extra time to incubate.
Yeah, that is true.
But that was also like 2 days prior, so it would have been a previous.
She was already pregnant. Yeah. And so then we have the funeral, and it's the way that we have her mom then like, trying to like talk to David about how like she wants Billy to stay with her.
Yeah, the Nana crying in Billy's face was like so intense.
Yeah, and it's a lot. And then also too, like, how dare her like, I guess he said something. Oh, yeah, because he's like, no, he's staying with me. And she's like, well, did you know her boyfriend is distraught and upset? I'm like, it was very petty of her to then like mention the boyfriend.
Yeah, I put, what a bitch. I was like, saying that her boyfriend is taking it hard. Like, he fucking cares about that. What the hell?
Yeah.
It's his wife.
And then he's like, I could give 2 fucks. I've got my son. Get out.
Yeah.
Well, not get out. But then she like takes that as like, well, I'm going to leave. And so she does. And then also I'm just like, why is everyone okay with her this like Alice committing adultery? I'm like, everybody's so okay with her like cheating on him and like
exactly. Yeah, because she was just like,
and they're all treating him like the bad guy, which I mean, get it ultimately, but like still like at this point.
But he wasn't. I mean, I have been with some people that, or like I've known people in relationships and stuff too that like, I mean, I would be like, okay, I'm not concerned about you cheating because that's a shit place for you to be and you're trapped or something like that. But he didn't seem to be like that abusive or any like sort of shithead husband. He just, like I said, was kind of boring.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make it okay. And so the fact that everyone was just like, I mean, her boyfriend. Didn't you know about her boyfriend, David?
Like as if he should have.
It's my fucking wife, you bitch.
Yeah. And so then we have the funeral ending. He's having a conversation with Claire, and he's telling her that like he was out there that night and he went to the house. He saw them fucking, and that
he said, I lied.
He lied to the cops because he didn't tell them everything, and that he thought that he saw a man killing Alice, that she was struggling with someone. And so then obviously Claire's like, why didn't you tell anybody? And this and that and whatever. And so then we have him.
And at that point I knew, I was like, this has to be his way of coping.
Yeah.
I was like, it was making him. It all up. He witnessed it himself, and then he was in such a brain fog that it felt like, I'm sure he probably detached from his body and like disassociated and acted in a blind rage. And it doesn't make this crime okay, but like I can see how his brain, and because it's not a premeditated thing. He didn't sit here and think about killing her. It happened in a crime of passion, and his body is like can't come to terms with the fact that he murdered his wife, whom he says he loves.
He was in a fit of rage.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we have him the next day then looking at more pictures and films of like the murders that have happened here at the Canal. And then we learn about William Jackson, who was the guy from the 1902 who murdered his family because his wife was cheating on him. And we kind of learn more about that.
And he's taking like pictures throughout the like the public bathroom and stuff. Oh yeah,
that's right. Of like everything. The same places of where
taking pictures of like where they dragged her body out of, and the music that was happening here. This was the first time that I really kind of recognized the soundtrack. Okay. And it was fucking creepy. Yeah. The music that was happening there was very, like the orchestral string, like plucking, like ding ding kind of thing, but not as like Jaws as I just made that sound. But yeah, it was creepy. But
and so we have them going through that. He's looking through all this, like gaining new information, I guess, of all the things that had happened there at the house. And
we find that the other guy escaped prison, kills himself, decapitates the nanny, and drowns himself and the kids in the canal, is like, ugh. And it had their little bodies it had like his in the middle, and then the two
on the side
little babies.
In the picture. Yeah.
And I was like,
sad story. And so then he's like telling his friend about all this shit and about like, I guess he's just been delving more into all these murders that happened around the area, around his house, around the canal. And then she's like telling him basically like, you're losing your mind. You need to go home. Like you shouldn't be doing all this because you literally should be grieving. And then it's like we find out it's Christmas because he ends up going home, and then Sophie and the little boy Billy decorated. And then we have him once again going. He's like, he is obsessed. He's obsessed.
At this point, he's already like pinned newspaper clippings to the wall. All of that. And it's like he's building one of those things with the red strings in between and
trying to connect the dots.
Yeah. And so he's just got all these like newspaper clippings, which is like, I feel like when you have newspaper clippings put to your wall, you're not mentally stable.
Yeah, no. And then it's the way that he's going through all them. And
you're
then
a detective.
We have like a whole little scene where he's going through the photos, and it's like he kind of breaks a little bit and he throws the photos and he doesn't realize that the nanny's right there. Yeah. And he throws them all in her face. And then she's kind of like, whoa. And just is basically just like talking to him like normal, like that didn't just happen. She doesn't even really acknowledge it.
She is remarkably calm.
Yeah, she's just talking about Christmas stuff, about decorating. And then she's like asking him, are you okay? As she kind of like pans to look at where he's looking at, and the camera pans to her. And it's the way that it literally says, it's like, whatever, the murderer kills nanny. Like, and I'm just like, girl, you better, the way.
You about to be dead.
Literally, this is super foreshadowing. And if I would see that, I'd be like, now hold up. That seems a little off. Why are you obsessed with that clipping?
Man kills wife.
I'm the nanny.
Man kills nanny. Man kills children.
This doesn't seem like it's heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
All the clues are there.
One of those has already happened. I'm a nanny.
Literally.
Let me get out.
I was like, oh, she better be concerned. And so then he is looking at all the images that he recorded.
Yeah.
Right? From the,
Yeah. And
excuse me, guys.
this is where he captures and sees it. The film is showing him things that cannot be seen with the naked eye. Yeah. That it's capturing the ghost, basically. And then we see all that. And again, this is where I put lots of use of silence to then cut to just seemingly normal things happening. But then the sudden amount of sound makes it scary, because then it was very silent again. And then it cuts to him dealing with some of the, what's that called?
Film. The negatives. Yeah. And then he hears something in the wall again, right? And that's
he's being drawn to the wall.
He goes and he's trying to listen, and that's when he goes, he tries to go and get the nanny, and when he walks in on her like smoking pot.
Smoking weed, yeah.
Yeah. She's like, oh. And he's like, very quickly, and also too, like the way if I was like smoking in this situation, he just comes in and acting the way he was, you could tell from her like demeanor, she got super paranoid. She's like, this is really weird. Okay. Like, and then he takes her to go like listen to the wall, and she's like, I don't hear anything.
I don't know if it was just like her trying to be like awkward, but like the way that she kind of played it off, like she was automatically smiling, and it's like, bitch, like you were very clearly smoking pot. I don't know. There were some parts of her acting that I was like,
unbelievable.
What is
not believable?
What? Like I just couldn't tell which vibe I was supposed to get from her. I don't know. I was unsure of her.
Yeah.
But yeah, she obviously isn't hearing anything in the wall, which is Can you imagine?
That would drive me crazy if I'm like trying to show something to someone and like they're like, I don't see it, I don't hear it. Especially because she kept talking over it. I'm like, bitch, shut up.
Yeah, I was like, you can't hear over
because your own voice. Because you're over here every 2 seconds saying, I don't hear it. I don't know. What do you listen? I can't hear it. I can't. I'm like, girl, you're not even listening.
She's not trying. But also, like, could you imagine if the person, if you were a nanny for someone, and then the father just after the wife mysteriously dies, and then it's like, here, come listen to the sounds in the wall, and it's like, he's like, can't you hear it? It's like someone's praying, and I'm like,
it's crazy. And then it's the way that after that, my next note is like, good idea, cover up the manhole, I guess, because
well, at this point he starts breaking down the wall.
Oh, that's right.
She leaves and he's just like doom, doom. I was like, okay, he's breaking down the wall, okay, here we go.
And he finds more pictures back there.
And does he find him yet? I think he finds him a little bit later, which I was like, how did he not see this the first time? Because I remember questioning that and being like, what?
But he breaks the wall.
But then all of a sudden we're back at the manhole, and it's displaced. And so that it's a very like harsh cut. He's like looking in, and then it's like manhole, and he's there. And it's like, oh, okay, cool.
And he covers it up, and I'm like, okay, good, let's do that.
And then he looks back up at the house.
Oh, that's right.
And he sees
the image of the man, the William Jackson. That's his name.
In the window. And it is Claire, or not Claire's.
The nanny.
Sophie's room. And he knows that Sophie has Billy with her as well. And so obviously he rushes up because like, fuck, he thinks someone's in the house.
Yeah.
And he's barges into the room, is like checking behind everything, and then basically gets him up, and he sends him off to a hotel.
Yeah, because he's scared one, and I'm just like, my notes every like 3 minutes are like, he scares the nanny again. And so he sends them off to a hotel because he doesn't believe that they are safe there. And it's the way that the nanny's like, this is all very, very weird, but okay. And so he is trying to show Claire again, and tell her about the ghosts. And obviously she's like, this is really crazy. You are having a breakdown. You need to like, you're going crazy. Take care of yourself. And so then that's whenever he is at the end of the night talking to his son, like on the FaceTime or Skype or whatever. And the boy's like, why didn't you come today? And he's like, sorry, I'll go tomorrow. Like,
and this is where we also figure out that people were holding seances in his house.
That's true.
And the last owner tried to burn the house down with her baby inside and successfully killed her son and said that there was a demon in the walls who did it.
And that's what he was telling Claire. That's right.
Yeah. And he's basically, she said like that or you can infer that he's using them to basically kill their families.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But yes, and then they're, what was that called before FaceTime? Skype.
Skype. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he was Skyping.
Messenger, something.
Yeah. With Billy and sitting there talking, and then some sort of shadow comes and sits down.
Literally, he's like sees something, and then that's when he's telling Billy to turn the camera like to see the whole room, and he sees the man coming up behind Billy. And so then he does the fastest bolt I've ever seen anybody ever do. So he like runs across town and gets to the hotel, and when he gets in, he scares the nanny again. And there's nobody in there, obviously.
Yeah.
And so
Homeboy is tripping. The sound effect that it made when the old man's the shadow like kind of, it's like almost like a black like orb, and then it shoots up to like
it's like almost he was hunched over, and then he like went
and
up.
then it takes form, and the sound effect that it used there was very cheap. It was like okay, but yes, Homeboy is tripping, and sorry.
No, you're good. And we have Homeboy tripping because he thought like Billy was in trouble, and then he's not once he gets there. And so
I thought also probably that maybe the man, like if the ghost really was manipulating all this, I thought that maybe he did that to force David's hand to bring Billy back home.
Probably, yeah.
And so I felt like that maybe that was done so that way that the kind of cycle of things, if it was to be some sort of like Amityville situation, that it was
always drawn back to the house.
And that like the order of events takes place kind of
similarly.
Same way. Yeah.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. I've never seen that Amityville Horror. So that's
really?
why I'm like, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry,
another
I just
one
like
to add to
literally
my list.
ruined every part of it.
No, it's fine. It's totally fine. I'll still watch it. And so we have all of that shit happening, scares the nan again. And then the next, sorry. So the next day he was trying to tell her about Claire about all that shit, and then
so here Sophie is saying she comes up to him after this whole event and says, if it wasn't for Billy, she would leave right now.
Be gone already. Yeah.
And she said, she basically straight up tells him, she's like, you're not well. Like something is not happening. Like something is not right with you right now. Yeah. You're clearly breaking down. But then he's like, you should sleep in here. You should sleep in here. It's not safe for you to be
by yourself.
Yeah, by yourself. And she says, like, I think I should go. And basically she's saying, like, I'll leave in the morning.
And I'm already thinking of like that one. Nope, you're dying tonight. Damn.
Yep. And he tells her as well, like, yeah, maybe it would be good for you to leave, but because it's not safe to be near us.
Yeah.
But then also she's like, well, I don't want to abandon Billy. Like, I want to come back.
She obviously cares for him.
Yeah.
And so we have then in the middle of the night, she wakes up and she gets attacked by whatever is
an unseen force.
We
can't really see the attacker.
And I think that also plays into that. She can't see it because then we have David
the initial
running
attack
in.
there also scared me.
Oh,
I
really?
jumped a little bit. Yeah.
We have David running in to try to help her out, but obviously because she didn't see who was attacking her, she thinks it's him. And so he's like trying to pull her out of the room, and she's fighting him the whole way until he brings her downstairs with Billy and locks her in the closet with Billy until I guess he thinks that they're safe, and then he finally opens the door and it's like basically just like telling her that she needs to get out of there, whatever. And
at this point, Sophie is like entirely convinced that it's David
and that he's crazy because she wants to take Billy and she doesn't want to leave Billy. And so then she leaves because we find out the next day that she's gone. Because then Billy is asking where she is, and he's like, well, she's gone. She left in the morning. And she's not coming back.
Eating his cereal, and I put this kid needs to learn to chew with his fucking mouth closed. It was driving me nuts. He was just like. The fucking because of the silence and everything, the crunching of the cereal was so like loud, jarring, which I think was it's again
Caitlin
uncomfortable.
Hates this kid, you guys.
I really do.
Caitlin this kid should have been the real victim.
Yep.
Which we find out later. And so, anyways, we have. He's asking, and he's also during this sequence is asking Billy if he ever sees ghosts, and Billy tells him no, that Billy's he doesn't see the ghosts. No.
Which I was a little bit shocked about.
Yeah, I was too, because I thought Billy was seeing them the whole time, but he doesn't.
Yeah, because that's your typical thing. Children are the most susceptible and the most open, and so they do see things. And
so the next day, David is playing hooky, having little Billy play hooky because he's just has him. I guess at the point because he's paranoid and he wants to keep him safe and have him keep eye on him. Yeah, and so he's asking Billy if he sees the lady in the tall grass on the other side of the canal, and he doesn't. And so then David starts recording it.
He breaks out the big old fucking like pinhole film camera out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I was like, where the fuck
was
were
that
you
the whole
keeping
time?
This?
Literally. Yeah, and so then he starts recording, and it's the way it's kind of eerie, and he has a little boy like trying hide and go seek, like counting to 10, and then he's recording. Yeah, and we don't see it happening, but you kind of get like a little
making Billy run over there was very odd. I was like, why did you make Billy have to go run over there and count? Like, if he clearly isn't seeing the ghost though, like, because he had already asked
still thinks that he's in danger, so
True.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And so
but then I don't know if I'd want to send my kid away from them.
But it was pretty creepy. And then we have him then rushing to Claire, and he's asking her to develop the film, and it's why that she's like, I don't know.
Because it's creepy. Yeah, we see someone approaching it, and it looks like as if she's in a purple dress, and so I was like, damn, is it his wife?
It's Alice.
And then. Like, I don't know. Then there was some very weird muffled sounds and talking. Like, it was like his, you know, like whenever, like if you get punched real hard or something and like, I don't know if that's a normal occurrence for everyone. But like the like sound of like when your ears are kind of like when you're underwater and then you come up out of the water and all of a sudden the sound is there again. Yeah. It sounded very muffled like that, as if we were underwater, which is fitting. And then, then it cuts to him and Claire says like, yo, you need to get some fucking help.
Yeah.
And her acting in the scene also seemed really forced, and I didn't like it.
there's a lot of scenes too where just some of the acting isn't as great. But we have them then cutting to like basically David and Billy be trapped in the house for Ghost, I guess, because putting flour on the floor and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
setting it up.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
And then we have him going to bed. He has another nightmare sequence. There's lots of blood. And then he wakes up and the cop's there.
Well, yeah. And well, so he has the nightmare sequence and he sees the like bloodied man standing above him in bed. He takes his water, drinks it. And then he gets up and is like kind of following him as this man leaves. And he sees the other children sitting there hiding. And then he goes to like he goes to the point where he draws a circle with like a red crayon around his water glass to see if it's been moved. And when he wakes up, the detective is just fucking sitting there.
Yeah.
But like clearly this man is going through like
breaking and entering, no warrant. Okay. Anyways. Yeah. And so the cops just sitting there watching and he's just like, what's with all the powdered something or whatever? And
you baking a cake?
The little boy's like, it's flour. And so they tell him, he has him in the car. He's like basically telling him like, we found the hammer with your fingerprints on it. We think this is foul play, basically, all that stuff. And then he's like, can you explain to me how any of this happened? And then David just starts like, there's a ghost in my house. That's something. And I'm like, that is not the way you want to go about this, baby.
Yeah. I mean, he just dives right in. He's like, it's a ghost trying to kill my family. And I was like, yo.
So obviously then we have him meeting with the cops downtown and his lawyer and basically saying that he needs to get a psych evaluation. CPS. Yeah, because they're going to take away his kid.
Whatever, Child Protective Services
CPS.
Is over there.
And so all of that is happening. And then we have him.
And he says he's not going to go see a psychiatrist. He's like, I'm not crazy. And I was like, bro, you need to go to a psychiatrist.
Literally.
Hard. Like,
anybody on a regular basis needs to go to a psychiatrist. Therapy is very helpful, very real. And so, we have him, I guess I don't know why I put that because we have he's being followed by the police people, I guess, because they have an eye on him. They're walking
hand in hand, and Billy's like, "Who are those men?" Yeah, and he's like, "It's the police. Don't look."
Yeah, and then the little boy is asking his dad, "Are you ever gonna leave me? Like, what if you die?" Those kind of questions.
Yeah, what if you die like mommy? And I was like, "Oh," but then he says, David answers, he says, "We will always be together." And I was like, I hope this motherfucker doesn't mean in death.
That's what it was giving. Yeah.
I was like, fuck, he's gonna kill him.
Literally. I was like, oh, this is sad. Kill him. And so that's what I was like, oh, he finds the pictures in the wall of them sacrificing the kids, right? I think that's what it looks like.
He says pulls pictures out of the wall showing the seances and stuff. And I was like, what? Because I was like, how the fuck did those pictures get there?
Yeah.
But and then he wakes because he again is seeing like
nightmares.
Yeah, people. He's
the dead people.
Seeing the dead people basically, and so he's going throughout the house, and the way
sees the flower at that point, right? There's footprints in the flower, and it leads him outside to the manhole. No.
Yep, and it's open again, and this is where we find out that the manhole leads to the canal. It leads to the opening that he had very like actively stared at
so many times
earlier in the film, and we see it in the picture. It was kind of like there as they're pulling the bodies from the canal. So we know that this particular, what are those little circular cement tubes that carry water?
Yeah, water. I don't know. Yeah,
but the sewage system, like the drainage release pipe,
that way into the canal.
We know that one is rather important, and so that's where we find out that it leads to that. Well, at this point, I put leads to the canal ? And then I was like, why the fuck is he climbing in it? No.
Oh, yeah, he's getting in it. Yeah, he's going to climb down because he's hearing voices.
Yeah.
And then he gets all the way to the end. And it's the way that he's looking in the water. Was that a fucking
dead baby?
Yeah. He unwraps this, like, whatever.
It's a dead baby.
And there's a dead baby. And it looks still almost fresh. And that's the way that he looks at it so fast and eats it.
He's just like, ah!
And it literally.
Like when you see
like a bug. Literally, it drops
it
into the water. Yeah. The poor baby just, like, goes down. And then it's the way that hands starts coming out of the water.
And I was like, really what creepy. The fuck is happening here?
So obviously he gets spooked and he like starts running back out. And then he gets back to the house, and that's whenever Clara comes over with the film. And she's like, it's
because developed. He had asked her to develop it. That of the one where he told Billy to go count. He had said, I need to see this today. And she was like, I do not have time. Like, we're booked. And he was like, no, I need this developed today. And so she brings it.
He was like, did you watch it? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, can you watch it with me? And so they get upstairs because Billy is watching TV. and they get upstairs, and she's basically just like telling him like,
do you remember calling me last night?
Because you sounded really distraught and you were telling me that you needed to tell me something about Alice. And then she goes into this whole little thing where she's like, please tell me whatever you did, and if you tell me that you didn't hurt her, then I'll believe you. And she's like kissing all over him.
Yeah, she starts making it. I was like, what the hell? Why is Claire kissing him?
Desperate, like, it's because so weird.
He's just sitting there like completely stone-faced, like his lips are not moving at all.
And she's just kissing all over him. It's really weird.
Yeah, it is. And at this point though, he says like they would sacrifice babies in the canal because the baby's blood is the strongest. And I was like, that's why Alice was murdered, because she was pregnant. And so that part came in too. And then, that's when Claire starts fucking making out with him. And I was just like, what?
So weird.
And then the way he's like, well, will you watch this tape? Like immediately
he's
afterwards.
You'll understand.
And I was like, oh, he's so insistent on this tape. This girl just like was kissing all over him. And he was like, but the tape.
So bad. And so then he has her watch the film. They're watching, and then finally we see
like a projector.
A projector on the wall that has a hole in the wall.
Which I could not, for the life of me, figure out what that was. I was like, there wasn't some sort of weird block in the way when he was recording, and it took until the creature came out of the wall that I understood.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, what the fuck is this block?
I love that at this point too. She's like, oh, I see it. What is that? And she's freaking out, and he's like, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Yay.
He's like, yay.
And so then we see this film, which is really creepy, and then
again, very Ring vibes.
Yeah, very Ring vibes, because then you see the figure coming closer and closer until it takes up the full frame, and then it starts coming out of the hole in the wall.
Yep. And I put, oh fuck, it's coming through the wall. Hell yes. I was like so excited. And then it comes through. It's like sloughs its little body down.
And then it comes towards Claire, and it starts grabbing her head as David's freaking out by the edge of the bed, and then like squishes her head almost, and then it's dragging her literally through the wall.
And it looks like her neck is broken.
Yeah, and then her little shoe pops off at the end.
Yep. And I put, my notes just go, oh fuck, it's coming through the wall. Hell yes. Oh shit, it just killed Claire. Fuck. Yeah.
Very like Freddy Krueger taking Nancy's mom through the whole window.
Oh yeah.
And so then
it was very fast paced at this point too. Like,
but it's also, after all, like the payout for that, like I really enjoyed that scene. It was really cool.
Yes, that scene was cool. I mean,
that stuff will give you nightmares.
Hell yes, I was a fan.
And we have him getting Billy, and he's running outside, obviously, because he just witnessed all this happen. And then we have the cops like, we just heard the woman go in there. We heard screams. What did you do to her? And he's like, I didn't do it. And he runs back in the house.
I was like, this motherfucker gonna get arrested.
Then he literally is running back through the outside and goes back into the manhole with Billy.
Yeah, I put, no. I said, why are you going to the canal, you fucking weirdo?
Drops up in there, starts running, and that's whenever the truth starts getting revealed. We start getting this little montage of him like then killing Claire, because she's like, I don't see it, and so he ends up strangling her.
And he's like holding her face, like like whenever you, not that, but like when you're trying to like point to someone to be like, hey, this is it. And so he's like, he's got her face, like his whole hand wrapped around her jaw.
He's forcing her to look at the film.
Yeah. Like not allowing her to turn her head. Yeah. And I mean, and then it goes to the point where he's just fucking choking her.
And then we have, while the ghosts watch, like him kill her.
Yeah, the masked figures were in there with him.
A lot of it too is him being kind of manipulated by the ghosts that are in this film as well. And so then we have him kind of then realizing that he did kill Alice, because we have a conversation that we see that was unseen between them, of her saying basically she wants to take Billy and leave. She's not in love with him anymore.
Yep.
And then he pushes her into the fucking canal. And I'm assuming she can't really swim that well, because she's struggling.
She says, I can't swim.
Okay, yeah.
When she got pushed in. And then also it also like showed right before that there was this clip of him in the bathroom. So we figure out what that face whispered to him whenever it showed up.
About the master, right?
It says the master wants her, give her to him.
Yeah.
And so then it goes, flashes back, and this motherfucker like takes her head, and he's holding it underwater.
And she's like, my baby, no. And then he kills her. And then, we have him.
Oh, God, this scene.
Yeah, literally then running. And he still has Billy. And they come up to an Alice, a dead Alice or something, ghost Alice, literally.
Yes. A very much more
grotesque. Like,
yes. Then it looked like her body had been in the canal for at least a couple weeks. Like very her skin was like a grayish color and
She
sort
was
of, you know, when
water,
things are
like,
waterlogged and her skin was like kind of sloughing off and
she's giving birth, you guys,
quite
to a dead baby, and it's all gross, and it's the way that it's all like coming from her vaginal area, and like
yeah,
it's
because
just
you
like a
see
lot of
like
discharge.
this pool of blood first, and I was like, "Fuck!"
It's very graphic.
So, okay, for those of you who don't know, I have a massive fear of pregnancy and pregnant women because of Alien. I said that in the Alien one.
Yeah.
And so this scene for me, like, because you quite literally watch the vagina split and the head come through. And I was...
It's an ugly little baby, too.
I was like, oh, my God. No. I was like, what the fuck? She gave birth? Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, it's a very WTF scene. And then we have I'm like, it's gross, but it's cool. And so she's giving birth to this little baby, and he's freaking out, and then he's running away, and then she's like crawling with the baby, chasing him.
And it's fucking wild.
And then it's the way that he just throws Billy into the fucking canal at the opening at the end. He just like yeets Billy into the fucking...
he jumps in with both of them, and they jump in, and well, Billy's still in his arms, I think.
I thought he literally threw him and then jumped in after him.
Oh,
that's what I thought I saw.
Oh,
he tossed him in, and then he jumped in after him.
You watched it twice. I just know that he eventually gets Billy and sends Billy up as Alice is now drowning David.
Alice is trying to drown David, and he has him, and then he kind of lets him go. But then the cop comes in and picks up little Billy and is able to rescue him.
Yeah, thankfully Billy is saved.
And then we have Dad dying in the canal, just like everyone else. And we have
it flashes.
Oh yeah, and then it flashes to the next day. The grandma is there selling the house, or not the next day, but the grandma is selling the house, and she's talking to the realtor
after all the funeral processions and stuff had happened. I'm assuming they mentioned something about a funeral, but I don't know if he actually got one with such a
they all think he
death,
because he killed her too. And so then we have little Billy asking to go back inside because he wants to get his dino book, and then he goes inside, and there's a crack in the wall, and it's so creepy the way we see an eyeball just pop up because it's David.
Yeah, I put, you know, what the fuck.
Yeah, like, and he's talking to Billy, and he's telling him, don't you want to stay with us forever? I'm here with Mom, like, we love you.
At first I thought maybe he got out and like crawled back into the canal, and I was like, he's hiding in the goddamn walls. And then I was like, oh, and he said when he said I'm here with Mom, I was like, oh no, he a ghost.
Yeah,
he a ghost.
Yeah. And so he was dead, and he's asking Billy to stay with him, and Billy's like, I love you. And so then it shows to him leaving with the grandma.
So I think it shows him leaving with the grandma before most of that conversation happens. We just kind of see him like saying, don't you want to be here with Mommy? And then it, like, he's already in the car and stuff, and then we get that, like, it flashes back and we hear more of the actual conversation. And then so you're actually hearing, he's like, you could stay here with us, kind of thing. And it's like, oh no. And then it flashes back to Billy in the car.
It's like voiced over, basically.
Yeah.
It's like happening at the simultaneously. And then we have Billy then opening the door and basically allowing himself to get run over. And die.
Because clearly the Nana or whatever was driving rather quickly. And we just see his little, this is why you have child lock on your doors.
Yeah.
Because he was in the back seat. Everything was proper. But actually, he was 5. He should have still been in a car seat.
And so then he opens the door and he rolls out and he gets run over. Yep, and we know he's dead because the realtor then sees him at the house upstairs closing the door.
Yep. The realtor was still there closing up, and she looks up the stairs, and Billy's just there closing the door, and she's like, she just smiles like nothing happened. Like she didn't just see these motherfuckers leave.
Yeah, which is really
weird.
And
I was like, and then I was like, is she in on it?
She's a ghost too.
Yeah.
The realtor ghost.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Because she was hiding the manhole and everything too. It's like she knows about everything that goes on there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. What if she was
she's part of it.
What if she was the original wife who was murdered?
Maybe.
I don't know.
A lot of unanswered questions.
But yeah, fuck, a little ghost family. And he successfully kind of killed his own son from beyond the grave, coerced him to do so. I feel like convincing someone to commit or complete suicide and die by suicide is essentially murdering them.
Yeah.
So
no, he was a murderer.
Yeah, definitely did. Man was fucked up in the head. But yeah, that's the Canal, 2014.
2014.
What are your boo ratings? What's your boo ratings?
My boo rating is a 3.
3?
3. Yeah, it's right in the middle of the road for me. But I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I thought it had a good kind of steady, like, engagement with it, and so I liked some of the scares. The ending, I think, was the better payoff for me. Like especially that scene with the little creepy thing coming out of the projector and then out of the wall.
Yeah, that was awesome.
The mom giving birth, I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, terrifying, but
yeah,
was awesome.
But yeah, I think also too, not going into it, I just didn't even really necessarily know what to expect. I mean, I knew the canal was going to be in there somewhere, but I just didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. It gave me also like not necessarily hardcore horror, but just more like also like just kind of like a thriller, who done it, did he do it kind of vibe, like
Shutter Island.
Yeah, almost that
kind of.
Exactly, that too. Yeah, it was
because you're following. It's that. Trope of having an unreliable narrator, and so
true. We find out he did it after all. He was the crazy one.
Because we feel like we're going through it with him, but then we have to at one point start questioning what we're seeing is valid.
Yeah.
And I mean, I am a fan of films that make you do that and make you kind of question everything, because you want to trust the person who is like the point of view that you're following.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah.
So it's 3 antagonists,
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think?
I honestly want to give it a 3.5.
Do it.
The ending, fucking loved it. Like, I was literally just sitting there going, "What the fuck?" It kind of gave me Mother. Have you seen that with Jennifer Lawrence? It kind of gave me the ending of that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Very Hereditary was probably is much more well done, but like how the last 15 minutes of Hereditary is like, what really the just fuck?
Yeah,
like shit is just hitting the fan. That was like this.
Yeah,
very similar for me. And I mean,
it was a slow burn with the big at the end.
Yeah, and I love that. Yeah. I mean, I don't need a constant like. It held my attention enough the whole time. There was enough interesting things happening that it never felt slow to me. My only qualms were mainly with some of the acting.
Yeah.
Some of the little boy annoyed the fuck out of me.
Maybe the writing a little bit, but that's all.
Yeah. But overall, I thought it was a wonderful concept. It was very, very broad.
Like I said, it was kind of like almost a culmination of a lot of movies in one.
Yeah. But again, that wall scene, I would recommend this film to anyone.
Just for
solely
that scene.
for that scene.
Yeah.
It was so fucking
Watch
good.
it in the dark. Watch it at night. Watch it alone.
It literally was like I put hell yes, this is happening like in my notes. I was so excited.
Yeah.
And then I think I actually clapped. I was like, oh fuck, okay, we going. Okay.
That would have been cool to watch in the theater.
Yeah. It would have.
On big, huge screens.
On a projected screen. Yeah. Like, oh fuck, someone could have came out of it too. And then that birth scene I mean, that's what made it for me is because I am so fucking terrified of that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it knocked it out of the park for me. I really did enjoy the film. 3.5 for me.
3.5 from Caitlin and 3.0 from Joshua.
3.0. So 3.25 from your boobays for 2014's
The Canal.
The Canal.
Or the Canal.
The Canal. And as again, we did find this film on Shudder. This week or this month, we are doing films that we are either exclusive to Shudder or ones
just streaming on Shudder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Films that we found on Shudder. Next week, we will be doing not a favorite of mine, but one that whenever I first got my Shudder subscription, this one was kind of put towards the front of like my suggested for you watch list, and I watched it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it is a film called 0.0 megahertz, and it is a Korean film, and it's a wild ride. It's one that takes you in like apparently 0.0 megahertz is the perfect like area of brain function to where you can communicate with ghosts.
Oh, okay.
Basically, I think it means you're like almost dead. So
I'm excited.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it.
It's a fun film. It is a tad bit long, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But I thoroughly enjoyed the film. Had some creepy moments. So if you want to watch that and prepare for next week with us,
we'll be doing that, you guys.
Yep. And
once again, we'd like to mention that we are in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios.
That's right. They take great care of us.
Really do.
They really do. They've been doing a lot of extra research and stuff for us, and that's awesome. We love them for everything that they do.
And then, You can, what else we talk about?
Well, you can listen to us or any of the other wonderful Rogue Media Network podcasts on a slew of podcasting forums or whatever hosting sites.
Spotify.
Yep. And or Apple Podcasts. And then, of course, at
roguemedianetwork.com.
That's right. And then if you are listening, please don't forget to
rate, review, like, and subscribe.
Yep. Because that is the only way we will get ahead. And then who knows? Maybe we could offer you a free trial with SHUDDER.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell your friends. Word of mouth is the best way.
Boobays.
Yeah.
And so we are also, if you would like to follow us on any type of social media, which is just one at the moment, on Instagram, we are at Boobays Podcast, and that is BOOBAES Podcast, all one together conglomerate.
One big word.
And that's
and it is about to get much more as a lot of you saw tonight. Well, if you were paying attention to our podcast or our Instagram feed, we had a live video that went up at the beginning of this recording. So you kind of got to see a little bit of us talking. I was not prepared. I don't have no fucking makeup on. I'll look like a troll, but it's fine.
You look amazing.
No, I don't.
Yes,
I look so fat in that video. It's okay.
Don't.
But anyways, you can see that.
You can. And until the next time, you guys.
Bye, babes.
Bye, babes.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.